Something that I've always kind of wondered. When it comes to biracial people, who really raises biracial people and just sits down and tells them about their identity? Because as we're about to see today, whoever is teaching biracial people about their unique identity, unique DNA, and unique perspectives clearly is not doing a very good job. As we see today, as brown and beige community, will be reacting to biracial TikTok. And this video was requested a while ago by one of my subscribers, and today we'll be reacting to it. So, stay tuned. Hello again, YouTube. Brown and beige community here again, and today I am back with another one of my infamous reactions. And today we're going to be looking at a couple of biracial TikTokers reacting to a fellow biracial TikToker, Talia Voider. And I'm just going to put my 2 cents in. I am a firm advocate in the end of the one drop rule, because it's just a very problematic rule that is outdated and is basically from white supremacy, which is basically forced all these differing phenotypes and pretty much just pigeonholed everybody into one group. And as we can clearly see in the American media and pretty much in the world today, as far as the internet is concerned, that rule is clearly outdated and seems to be doing more harm than good nowadays. When we have pretty much countless upon countless examples on YouTube or Twitter alone of how we got darker skinned black people that are the main pushers of the one drop rule in one instance, but the second a mixed light skinned or MGM person earns something that they feel they should have, then all of a sudden that we come in all shade stuff goes out the window immediately. And I just do not believe that that should even be necessary nowadays. Or on the other side, where we got the more quieter side, where we've got dark-skinned black men portraying very, very racially ambiguous light-skinned men constantly in the media, and it never gets called out for that exact reason. So we pretty much moved past that. So today we're going to see what Miss Talia Voider said and what our fellow biracial Americans have to say about it. So let's get started.
In time to learn about the mixed race? How could you be woke and fucking ignorant at—
Well, considering the fact that you could be mixed with plenty of other things other than just black and white, I don't think that you should even be referring to the mixed race, because what exactly is the mixed race? Anything could be included in the mixed.
Well, that's kind of contradictory to what you just said. Anything can be included in the mixed race. Well, by that logic, one could say the same thing with the black community per se. we have countless examples of the black community's very, very questionable look of the overall black identity, when we have people like Sean King and Rachel Dolezal, who are clearly not phenotypically black in any sense, but are the faces of the black movement. So by that exact logic, one could say the same thing about the black community per se. Just want to throw that out there.
Race. So for one, shut the fuck up. For two, you sound dumb. You literally sound dumb. You can be multiracial. That doesn't mean you're not one of the races that you are. Bitch, you're still black. You are still black. You are half black, bitch. You are still black. You can scream biracial all day. You can scream biracial all day. That does not change the fact that there's black DNA in your fucking body. Ma'am, you're African American.
But you just said that you can't be not being half of one of the races you are, but yet at the same time you're basically excluding the other half of your race by saying that you're just black. So which one is it? Like, you can't just say, it just really kills me when I hear people say this stuff. But it's like, if you are a black or white person and you're basically just throwing your clearly mixed child in with the black community, you're basically putting them in a very unfortunate predicament. Because, yeah, you can say they're black, but that doesn't mean other people will say that they're black. And really, it's hard to argue against it. You're just as much white as you are black. And trust me, black people will be one of the first ones that will point that out. Just say something that black people don't like. Oh, that half whiteness will be the first thing that they bring up. Oh, they're just half white anyway. They're not really black. You're only as black as they say you are. But let's continue.
If you don't want to be black, just say that. Girl, I'm biracial. I identify as black. Hello, how you doing? The fuck? Y'all weird. You're weird. You're weird.
You can clearly tell by the way this young lady is speaking that she's getting a lot of these views from outside sources. Like, if you don't want to be black, just say that. Like, that has absolutely nothing to do with biracial people not being black. It's about them accepting both of their identities equally, which is understandable, and it's honestly how it should be, honestly. Like, and I always say this, and this is probably might offend a couple of people, but if black people really wanted to have a black child so bad, then they would have had it with a other black person with their phenotype. How can you even sit up here and have the audacity to procreate and mix with another race and then tell that child that they're still black? No. No. And I know a lot of these clowns will be like, oh, but see, your father, whatever tribe your father is, like, stop it. That scripture has absolutely nothing to do with what we're talking about right now. Because I know people love to bring that argument up, but that makes absolutely no sense scientifically and biologically. So it really makes you kind of side-eye a lot of the people in these relationships, both the black and white parents, or black and any other race, that are telling these biracial kids that they're still black, when that is clearly a lie and something that really, really needs to be called out.
Not allowing mixed race people to identify as biracial or multiracial.
Hi, fellow mixed race person here. So watching your video, I agree with the fact that I do believe biracial people and mixed people should be taught to be able to understand that there are people who are mixed whose life experiences are different than their own and different than others. However, I feel like it's important to acknowledge that race at the end of the day is a social construct, and it all boils down to how society itself perceives you and how people perceive you. If somebody sees you as a black woman, you would be treated like a black woman. Maybe you would have more privileges for your lighter skin and having more like ethnically ambiguous features.
That makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. So if society sees you as a black woman, you will be treated like a black woman and will have privileges for being lighter. That's not how that works. Either they see you as a black woman and you will be treated like that, or they see you as something else if you're getting privileges. That makes absolutely no sense and is contradictory at its best. It can't be both ways. Either they view you as black and you're going to be seen that way, which, quote unquote, the struggle. Then if you're getting privileges for being lighter skinned, then that basically means that they see you as something else. Like, you can't just have it both ways. It's either one or the other. If light-skinned people are privileged for being light-skinned, then doesn't that mean that overall the other communities view light-skinned people as something else? Because, and let's be honest, when you say privileges, that's being very vague. What privileges are we speaking of here?
But if that's how they see you, that's how they'll treat you. No one at the end of the day is taking away from your identity and culture. It's just saying how society is going to treat you and your specific and people who look like you. And yeah, that's really it. But yeah.
And once again, I have to say, if society is treating biracial people different from quote unquote fully black, unambiguous black people, then doesn't that technically mean that they're not the same thing? Like, I just love when people say basically one thing and then double down and turn around and say something that completely contradicts what they say. And I will say it again, if they're treating biracial people differently, then that means that biracial people are a different group within itself. You can't have it both ways. And as I always say, light skin privilege cannot exist if we're all black. If we're all black, then that means that there is no such thing as light skin privilege, and that we're all treated the same. If light skinned people are getting treated better, then that basically means that light skinned people are different and we're not viewed as the same. So, can you guys answer that question?
African American and you come to my page telling me that I'm black, then you're the one with the identity crisis.
I'm confused. Cause like, okay, one, biracial is not a race.
Well, black technically isn't a race either, if we're going by that definition. Yeah, biracial isn't a race, but biracial, well, actually, if you look at history, technically you could say that that's also wrong. Because even in the slavery days and the constructs back then, I know people love to use that argument to back the one drop rule, but if you look at American history, biracial people were their own separate group, which was called mulattoes. It wasn't until white supremacists changed the rule, being that if you were 1/4 black, you were still black regardless of how you look. And the funny thing is, these people are always raving and raving about white supremacy, but yet they're following a rule that was basically created by white supremacy, which was created to oppress mulatto people with black ancestry from advancing in society. So when you push the one drop rule, you basically are upholding white supremacy. So who's really the white supremacist here?
Thanks. Number two, what, like, culturally, what do you identify with? Because there's no, like, biracial culture. Like, when you're growing up and you're biracial, hello, biracial here, you just grow up with both of the cultures surrounding you. So it makes sense. Like, I'm black and I'm Mexican. I identify as both black and Mexican, and I acknowledge that I'm biracial. Like, that makes sense to me. But to solely acknowledge that you're biracial or that you're mixed race, like, what culture do you identify with? Because there's no biracial, like, that doesn't make any sense to me.
But here's where this whole argument becomes null and void. You got people like this that'll turn around and say that they identify with both cultures. But then these will be the same people that clearly have a parent of another race that solely identify as black. And now that this lady, Talia Voider, I believe that's her name, is saying she identifies as racial, it's a problem. But yet these same people don't bat a single eye to the fact that these people with one black parent and one parent of another race, 9 times out of 10 do not have nothing to say if they identify as black. So where is this confusion coming from?
African American and you come to my page telling me that I'm black, then you're the one with the identity crisis.
Oh my god, this is a grown woman. I am also mixed race. My parents are not of the same race. And I'm still black, and you are still black.
And see, here we go again. I am still black and you are still black. On the basis of what exactly? Like, this is where you really have to question, like, the parents of a lot of these biracial kids. You think these people will have enough knowledge of their own respective identities to know that if you are a person of one race and a person of another race, if you lay down and procreate with each other, you are basically creating a new group. How hard is that to grasp? I don't know who you can blame more in this situation. The white parents who probably own inherent racism basically blocks their own judgment, and they basically want to throw them in as black when they clearly know that they're half white, which is a construct that has been going on far longer than anybody that's walking this earth has even been alive. And then you have the black people who, for some reason, will accept biracial people as black when it's beneficial to them to do so, until that biracial person says or does something that they don't like. Then they'll throw that half whiteness card in them. Oh, that's just the white side and you coming out. So who do you blame more in this situation? And honestly, I hate to say it, but you kind of can blame black people themselves more so, because you guys know these biracial people are different. You can't, throwing them into the black community just creates a whole bunch of dynamics that biracial people should not have to even deal with. But because you lack and your own inherent self-hatred of your race, basically want to claim them as black, because you feel like doing that you can just interracially date with every group of people on the planet and then throw in the face that your gene is so dominant, inherently promoting your own self-hatred.
The way the world sees us is as black just because of our skin color and our features. Mixed race and being biracial is not a race in itself, because there is no one way to be mixed race.
But then I guess there's multiple ways to be black then. When you have all these black people claiming everybody under the sun, Mexicans, Puerto Ricans, Dominicans, who knows, probably Indians in another few couple of years. So there's more than one way to mix race, but I guess there's always ways to be black then too, I guess. Even people who don't have a black feature on their body are black, but there's this is just unbelievable. The contradictions within itself are just unreal at this point. And once again, you just got people who think that they're, I guess, trying to prove this lady wrong, but in a way they're not doing anything but proving, for one, their own self-hatred and the self-hatred of their own parents, if we're being perfectly honest.
Whether you have one black parent, one white parent, one Asian parent, one black parent, one Asian parent. When you say things like that you're not black, you're mixed race, or you're biracial, you're actively just contributing to anti-blackness.
Hold on, whoa. Wait, I'm sorry, what?
You're actively just contributing to anti-blackness.
Are you serious? So, let me get this straight. So, if biracial people basically claim both of their races, it's contributing to anti-blackness and white supremacy. But yet, the whole sole reason you, as a biracial person, are grouped into the black community is because of white supremacy. The one-drop rule is an outdated social construct that was created by white supremacists to stop mulattoes from advancing in history. Know your history. Like, this is just unbelievable, like how delusional and lost some of these people that do videos like this are. Like, they have no concept of American history or the one-drop rule. And that's another thing. So if biracial people basically claim both of their races, then that means that it's anti-black. Like, they're acknowledging that they're half black and half white. How is that anti-black? Because you guys, if they do claim black, you guys will be the same ones that complain about how biracial people are erasing fully black people. So when they claim what they are, you guys are still complaining? Like, what sense is that? This is just a completely confusing topic to discuss. And there's just a lot of just hypocrisy and just overwhelmingly contradictory comments on both sides, on all sides at this point. But when you have a group of people that have been lied to and gaslit like biracial people have by both communities, and when you have another group of people, which is unambiguous black people, speaking for you and telling you your history, then this is what you get. A whole lot of lost, light-skinned / biracial people that pretty much have been manipulated to push agendas that really don't benefit us at the end of the day. And this is what happens when you don't know your own history.
And white supremacy.
Society not allowing mixed race people to identify as biracial or multiracial.
Honey, I can see from your lightning cream that you're real serious about your anti-blackness, and I did this in my bonnet so you could see how serious I was about mine.
Well, that's a stereotypical kind of anti-black comment within itself, but I digress. Continue.
Honestly, I mean, we could tell that you're multiracial. I mean, that's a given, but that doesn't mean that your ancestry doesn't lie with black people. Now, I can understand why you even do it. I mean, it's much easier to identify as other than it is to stand with your people.
But you're not standing with your people. That's the thing. You're basically aligning yourself with people that basically have absolutely no features in common with you. The only thing that's really tying you together is a outdated social construct from practically hundreds upon hundreds of years ago. So you're not standing with your people.
You can identify as a multiracial person. You can let someone know that you are in fact black and something else. But that doesn't mean that society sees you as anything else. And you can paint your face as much as you want to. And you can go scream from the mountaintops about how you want to be biracial. But at the end of the day, the only thing that anyone will ever see, whether you have green eyes or not, is that black in your DNA. So remember that.
I honestly am getting really, really tired. Well, if other people see okay, here's the problem. If we're going by what other people view us as, okay, let's just play devil's advocate for a second. If we're going by what other people view us as, other people view the black community as itself and views us all as criminals, thieves, robbers, rap music. We can't talk directly, can't talk like English wise where people can understand us. If we're going by how other people view us, then okay, other people view black people as a whole like that. So does that mean that we're supposed to just go around and act a certain way just simply off of what other people view us as? Does that make sense to you? No, I didn't think so. Like, I am getting really tired of hearing this argument over what other people view us, and at the end of the day, if the cops pull you over, they see a black man. And honestly, that is an anti-black comment within itself. And it's like, you guys are basically to be black, you have to be pulled over by the cops. The very fact that comments like that are constantly said really just shows, one, the self-hatred of the black community, and two, the way the black community has openly accepted dysfunction. Like, being pulled over by the cops is not just a black thing, you clowns. And the fact that you guys even just throw this argument in biracial people's faces means that you guys have a lot of, I don't know, like, you guys have to look within yourself, because you have basically accepted dysfunctional behaviors and associated with yourself and your group. You guys are the ones with the confusion. You guys are the one that need to take a look at yourself in the mirror and ask yourself why you view yourself like that. I don't view myself like that. The only people that get pulled over by the cops are criminals. Do you view yourself as a criminal for being black? No. And you shouldn't. So when you guys say things like this, it doesn't do nothing but put the spotlight on you. And then you have people like this lady, like right here, that basically just piggyback off of what you guys say. This is one of the reasons why we keep having this discussion every year. Because people just will not look within themselves and question their own identity in the way things are. No, it's much easier to just go along with the crowd. Whatever the crowd says, just go along with it. Just going on to get along. I think that's what they say. That's basically what we have here. And at the end of the day, all you'll see is the black in your DNA, but yet, at the end of the day, there's also majority white in your DNA. And I know people love to say, oh, well, everybody in the black community is mixed. No. No. That is wrong. Not everybody in the black community is mixed. Phenotypically, DNA wise, that Like, just because you're 15% white, that does not make you mixed. I'm sorry, it doesn't. 15% of something does not make that something else if the majority, 80 to 100% of it, is this one thing. That's like dropping a little teaspoon of sugar into water. Or, no. A little drop of chocolate. A teeny tiny drop, and then saying it's chocolate milk. Yeah, it might change a little bit, but it's still going to taste like water. I think this conversation is just, for one, okay, I know I've said this 1,000 times because I really don't hold back in situations like this, but I think this whole thing just shows the self-hate of darker-skinned blacks as a whole. Yes, you guys have heard this 1,000 times from other people, and now I'm going to say it too. The real reason why dark-skinned people are going so hard in the paint to claim light-skinned people is because dark-skinned people want to have a reason to breathe themselves out without having to go all the way doing so. They would rather, instead of going to the white community, which is, to be honest with you, what a lot of them really want anyways, just looking at the numbers of the amount of black men that interracially date. And I know a lot of people say, well, light-skinned men are black too. Well, let's be honest. I think when they're talking about this 9 times out of 10, they're not talking about us. Light-skinned men, we don't really say anything. We don't really cry about anything. We're just there. Like, we're just there half the time. We're just pretty much just going along because we pretty much have really no voice or any say in any matters. We're just pretty much going along with what people say and what people portray about us, which that is a whole nother topic for a whole nother day. But like I said, dark-skinned people want to be able to breathe themselves out while in a way maintaining their pretty much most of their cultural pretty much norms. And light-skinned people and biracial people fit that bill. They can pretty much lighten themselves up and then still maintain the mainstays of black culture. And that is why we finally have, with something that should have been happening a while anyway, people finally accepting the fact that that's where this whole MGM turn has came from. And people don't like that term because it basically is finally acknowledging a well-known fact that has been going on for years that people have not been willing to accept. When you lay down with that light-skinned person who pretty much has more than a quarter of white DNA, that basically makes an MGM baby. I know you guys love the fact that you can keep claiming them as black, but the truth is finally coming out. And you guys can keep screaming at the mountaintops with your fists up in the air with your dashikis and stuff. Oh, black power! Oh, God, black power! But at the end of the day, these people still are going to have a larger amount of white DNA and do not look similar to you. But that's all I have to say about today's topic. And all I can say to everybody watching is just accept your DNA. Acknowledge the fact that you are different. Your features do not look the same to anyone else. We are all unique people, and I think we all have to accept that fact. Let's not throw everybody under one umbrella because one group feels the need to do so. Everybody is unique and different in their own way, and we have to acknowledge this. But thanks for watching, everyone, and peace out.